But ever since he hooked up with Meghan, he has spectacularly lost his popularity. He seems to be obsessed with getting it back.
These two images from Meghan's mole side by side show why Harry looked so miserable on leaving Clarence House. Yes, they met. Yes, that was against William's wishes, but there was no sense that I'm getting that Charles laid out the red carpet for Harry.
I grew up as an only child, which everyone who grew up around me knows. I would have loved to have had siblings. That's why I'm so excited to be pregnant, so that Archie has someone.
In California, we're just a regular couple living close to Oprah and far from the paparazzi.
Woo. Mm-hmm.
But not too far.
They're ridiculous after that. They want it both ways. You know, you can't be, these people were so mean to us, poor us, and we don't want all this attention, and then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
Hey.
Did you know it's cold in there?
Yeah.
Must be an American thing.
It's not.
Tom Sykes of the Daily Beast said, was that a settlement meeting? Does Prince Harry want to see his dad to say, what can I get out of you before I lose the opportunity?
What happens when a royal reconciliation lasts shorter than an episode of The Crown? Well, that's exactly what just unfolded between King Charles and Prince Harry. After more than a year without a proper sit-down, Harry flew across the Atlantic hoping for a breakthrough. Instead, what he got was a lukewarm teacup, an icy reception, and headlines that are tearing the internet apart. This wasn't the red carpet welcome some expected. It was cold, calculated, and left Harry looking more isolated than ever. From Camilla's surprise appearance at the tea to William's refusal to even see his brother, this so-called royal reunion has turned into one of the biggest PR disasters yet for the Sussexes. Today, we're breaking down exactly what went wrong inside Clarence House, why Harry's wish list backfired, and how this brief encounter could shape his royal legacy forever. Let's get into it.
His meeting with the king, I agree. I think that it was a symbolic gesture to say, hey, I'm back in with the royal family public. Don't take me for a fool. But no one's falling for it.
According to insiders, the much-hyped meeting between Prince Harry and King Charles barely lasted 55 minutes, shorter than most sitcom episodes. Out of that, reports suggest the private conversation was less than 20 minutes, with the rest filled by awkward protocols, security procedures, and waiting around. For Harry, who crossed the Atlantic in hopes of a genuine heart-to-heart, it was a crushing disappointment. Instead of reconciliation, Clarence House looked more like the set of a political summit. The stiff atmosphere and controlled setting left no room for casual warmth or father-son bonding.
But he's been on this huge charm offensive. Here I am, this charity, I'm like a great guy. Oh, look at me sword fighting with this kid. It's classic sort of royal visit stuff.
Commentators compared it to a speed date gone wrong, where both parties left unsatisfied. Memes quickly circulated online, joking that Harry came for the crown, but left with crumbs. What was framed as a royal peace talk now looks more like a PR play gone sideways, setting the tone for everything that followed.
This is a man who pines on about how unsafe he feels and how he needs the British taxpayer to pay for his security, but is very happy to reveal about his 25 Taliban killings in his book that he got a book deal for, and then very happy to jet over to Ukraine. So this is a man who clearly doesn't care about his safety. It's just about his victim complex.
If Harry expected to be treated like the prodigal son returning home, he was sorely mistaken. Reports say King Charles deliberately kept the meeting understated, with no special gestures, no warm welcome, and no palace photographers capturing cozy family moments. Instead, the entire event felt transactional, like Charles was hosting a formal guest rather than reconnecting with his son. Royal insiders suggested Charles wanted to send a clear message. Harry is no longer part of the inner circle.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
Even the decision to keep the meeting short was viewed as symbolic, showing the monarchy operates on its own terms, not Harry's. Commentators noted that this wasn't the kind of meeting Charles would hold with someone he loves, but rather the type of stiff, protocol-driven exchange he reserves for strangers or foreign dignitaries. In other words, Harry didn't get tea with Dad, he got tea with the king.
This is the sort of meeting that the king does with strangers. It's not the sort of meeting that he does with loved ones.
One of the most striking details from this episode is Prince William's refusal to even see his younger brother. Despite being within just 7 miles of Clarence House, William made no effort to join or extend an olive branch. This underscores how deep the rift between the brothers has become. Public opinion was quick to note the symbolism. Charles may be willing to at least sit down with Harry, but William isn't budging an inch. For royal watchers, this reinforces the idea that once William ascends to the throne, Harry's connection to the monarchy will be permanently severed.
He's trying to get back in with the king because he knows he'll never be able to get back in with William. That's never going to happen. So once that door is closed and unfortunately the king passes, I don't think there's any chance of him getting back into the fold.
Analysts suggested that William's absence wasn't just personal, it was strategic. By refusing to engage, William avoided giving Harry any photo ops or storylines that could be spun as reconciliation. Instead, he left Harry stranded, facing Charles alone, and further emphasizing the divide between the future king and the spare. Adding another layer of tension, Queen Camilla reportedly joined the meeting, turning what Harry may have hoped was a father-son catch-up into a 3-person boardroom session. For Harry, this was a bitter twist. He has been openly critical of Camilla in the past, labeling her as the villain and the third person in his parents' marriage.
No more following Granny's rules. Don't wear your pants on your head, Harry. Don't bath on the butler, Harry. If I want to play polo in my living room, who's gonna stop me?
Stop that.
Her presence shifted the tone from personal to official, making Charles appear less like a father and more like a monarch backed by his consort. Commentators described the vibe as if Harry walked into a family dinner expecting intimacy, only to discover his least favorite manager was running the meeting. For the public, the irony was sharp. Harry once tried to expose Camilla, yet now she sat across from him as an equal to the king, reinforcing her power and making Harry's position seem even weaker in comparison.
This man, I think, will be asking Dad for a little bit more money very, very quickly. I only see bad things on the horizon.
Far from just catching up, Harry allegedly came with a list of requests that quickly raised eyebrows. Reports suggest he pushed for financial support, titles for his children, additional security, and even coverage for mounting legal costs. To many, it sounded less like a reunion and more like pitching your dad on Shark Tank. Public reaction was harsh, with online jokes comparing his demands to asking Santa for every toy in the catalog. Critics argued that instead of humility, Harry approached the meeting with entitlement, as if royal favors were negotiable items on a shopping list. Supporters countered that he was simply fighting for his family, but the overall sentiment leaned critical. The most controversial claim being Meghan being treated like HR, a demand that struck many as audacious. In the end, Harry's requests seemed to highlight his dependency on the institution he once claimed to have left behind.
I understand why Prince William has no desire to have a relationship with his brother. His brother brings nothing but negativity and potentially the end of the monarchy.
King Charles's reaction was described as calm, cold, and unyielding. Instead of engaging emotionally, he reportedly leaned heavily on royal protocol, effectively shutting down Harry's requests without raising his voice. Witnesses described his tone as firm but detached, like a teacher catching a student cheating and calmly enforcing the rules. This wasn't the passionate debate Harry might have hoped for. It was monarchy mode at full power. With Camilla at the table, Charles came across less as a father and more as a CEO guarding the institution. Commentators joked it was like trying to return an item at a store, only to be told, sorry, no refunds, no exchanges. Public opinion quickly interpreted the silence as a royal no, delivered without a single dramatic gesture. Instead of reconciliation, the encounter reinforced Charles's authority, leaving Harry looking powerless and visibly frustrated as he left Clarence House.
This is a man who pines on about how unsafe he feels and how he needs the British taxpayer to pay for his security, but is very happy to reveal about his 25 Taliban killings in his book that he got a book deal for, and then very happy to jet over to Ukraine. So this is a man who clearly doesn't care about his safety. It's just about his victim complex.
If the meeting itself was icy, the internet's reaction was downright brutal. Social media flooded with memes mocking Harry's short meeting, his empty-handed exit, and the awkward optics of the entire encounter. Viral captions included, "Harry came for the crown but left with crumbs," and "the shortest royal comeback tour in history." Others compared the tea to a failed dentist appointment, where at least you usually leave with a free toothbrush. The photos told their own story, Charles appearing regal and composed, while Harry looked tense and frustrated. Commentators noted the contrast in optics, one man projecting authority, the other appearing cornered. Public opinion overwhelmingly painted the encounter as a humiliation for Harry, not a step toward healing. Instead of repairing his image, the meeting sparked ridicule that spread faster than any official palace narrative, turning Harry into the punchline of his own family drama.
The list is ridiculous. Once Meghan treated as an HRH, that's the most realistic on the list, where you can go, I can see these two having the audacity to say that people need to bow and curtsy to Prince Harry's wife.
While palace sources stayed completely silent, the media scrambled to frame the tea as a step toward reconciliation. Headlines suggested it was progress, even if modest, and tried to soften the optics of Harry's cold reception. But online, the public wasn't buying it. Viral posts compared the coverage to calling an awkward Zoom call a peace treaty. Commentators argued that the silence from Clarence House wasn't reconciliation, it was strategy. By saying nothing, Charles allowed the optics of Harry's empty-handed exit to tell the story. Analysts called it a PR masterstroke, contrasting the king's calm with Harry's desperation. For Harry and Meghan's team, however, it was another setback. Their PR push to frame the meeting positively was drowned out by memes and skepticism, leaving their narrative weaker than before. What was supposed to be a healing moment instead became another example of the Sussexes' spin falling flat.
Prince Harry has entered the chat. You dumb ginger. You leave your title because you don't like your 94-year-old grandma? That's the definition of something you wait out, gangsta.
The fallout wasn't just personal. It hit the Sussex brand directly. Industry chatter suggests Harry and Meghan's media deals thrive on access and royal relevance. Without fresh royal connections, their story risks running stale. Critics bluntly put it, no palace, no plot. Netflix and Spotify may have been drawn in by the drama, but if the drama dries up, so does the appeal. Public jokes reflected this perfectly, with one viral post comparing their projects to Survivor, but without any real conflict, just polite coconut sharing. Meghan now faces increased pressure to craft the next big headline, whether through interviews or leaks, just to keep interest alive. Every Frosty Palace encounter makes it harder to market themselves as insiders. Instead, they look more like outsiders trying to claw their way back in. For their brand, this wasn't just a cold tea, it was a credibility crisis. Beyond the headlines and memes, royal commentators warned that this 55-minute tea could have long-term consequences for Harry's legacy. Years from now, documentaries won't remember what biscuits were served, but they will remember the image of Harry walking out empty-handed while Charles held his ground. Public opinion is already shaping the narrative. Charles looked like a monarch prioritizing duty, while Harry looked like a son scrambling for relevance. Supporters may view him as the underdog, but critics argue he is cementing himself as the royal who couldn't win back what he left behind. Commentators compared it to a chess match. Harry moved fast, making multiple requests at once, while Charles barely moved but still controlled the board. Legacy isn't built overnight. It's built in moments like these. And this tea may define Harry's story for decades to come, not as reconciliation, but as rejection. So, after all the build-up, Harry's big meeting with King Charles ended in just 55 minutes. No breakthroughs, no promises, and certainly no red carpet treatment. What was billed as a chance for healing has instead fueled more division, more memes, and more questions about Harry's future. William's refusal to engage, Camilla's unexpected presence, and Charles's icy professionalism all reinforce the image of Harry as an outsider knocking on a locked palace door. For the Sussex brand, the fallout could be even bigger than the family feud. Without royal access, their media empire risks losing its edge. And for Harry personally, this brief encounter may leave a lasting stain on his legacy. Was this truly his last chance at reconciliation, or just another chapter in a saga that refuses to end? Let us know what you think. Is Harry fighting for family, or is he fighting a battle he can't possibly win?